Welcome to this episode of Uplifting News Sleep Aid Daily, where we read you good news to fall asleep to. Today is Sunday, April 19th, 2020. Our uplifting stories include a comic book created to help people with autism understand changes brought by coronavirus. Alberta First Nations remain COVID-19 free for more than 1 month into pandemic. And a New Jersey landlord who canceled rent for 3 months. Now, breathe in. Breathe out. And relax as we dive into these stories. Our first article is from Disability Scoop by Akira Kyles. Comic book helps those with autism understand changes brought by coronavirus. A high school junior with autism was used to her routine and comfort of knowing what each day would entail. But because of school closures and other measures taken to slow the spread of COVID-19, her world is now filled with frustration and uncertainty as she adapts to a 24/7 life at home. To help her understand this new normal, Deborah Bruzio's family, who live in Sykesville, created a comic book in which she is the central figure, Debbie Fights Coronavirus, that they hope will edutain anyone with autism. It's a tangible form of what is a popular term being used now, edutainment, and that is educating people and entertaining them at the same time. That's the model for Debbie Fights Coronavirus, said Vincent Bruzio, Deborah's father. It's portable, it's full of color, it's a PDF format so it can be seen on any phone, any tablet, any computer because of the universal application. Vincent was in charge of publishing the comic book. His wife, Julie, used her teaching background to edit and oversee production, and their son, Joseph, who attends Maryland Institute College of Art in Baltimore, helped with the artwork. The comic went live on March 31st on the website of Pathfinders for Autism, a local autism group. And after some marketing, it will also be on the Autism Speaks website and the Facebook page for the Carroll County Public Library's Eldersburg branch, Vincent said. Deborah was the perfect model for the comic book, said Vincent, because of her facial expressions. Comments we've been getting from people, and particularly with Autism Speaks, said they've really liked how well Deb models for the book because people with autism respond to a lot of facial expressions, he said. Deb's really good at creating a variety of faces that we were able to use for the comic. Everything from fear to exhaustion to determination to being inquisitive to shock value. She's really good at expressing a lot of different facial expressions. That really comes across, especially on the cover where she's standing with her fist in the air, all defiant with my son's coronavirus bug coming at her full tilt. Debbie was diagnosed with autism when she was 3 years old. She also has a trained ear for the piano, although she isn't always inclined to take requests, according to Julie. Julie hopes this book helps others reconcile what is going on during this confusing time. I really hope that this book helps kids understand that even though they're at home and their normal routines have been altogether stopped, that it brings them an understanding of other things they can do in place of those normal routines, said Julie. And that it's okay to be upset at this time and frustrated, because it's an incredibly hard and frustrating time for everybody, and it's just normal to be upset. So I just hope that brings some comfort and it helps support their understanding of what's going on. Debbie enjoyed participating in the comic book amid all the uncertainty while staying at home, her father said. She really likes doing what she can. I mean, it takes a while to get everything done because you can only do so much in a short period of time, said Vincent. Yes, she's very open to doing something like this. She's really, really good to work with. A realtor now, Vincent used his 23-year career in the comic book industry to teach his daughter things like social distancing. Creating social stories to help her came naturally to me because people with autism, they think in pictures. They process ideas in pictures rather than words, said Vincent. so putting together social stories to help her along came natural to me. She was having a very difficult time trying to understand why she couldn't go back to the life that she had because of social distancing and things like that. School was closed and she was having a very hard time trying to understand why her life was upside down. So I started originally creating a social story using images off the internet. But then when I started putting it together, I thought this might be something that could be put online for other people to use as well. According to Vincent, Debbie hasn't read the finished product because she has to take it in bit by bit and process it, but he hopes to make a video of her reading it to post online. Julie said she was excited when Vincent came up with the idea to teach Debbie with a comic book that could help others, but had initial concerns. So my reaction when my husband first told me about his idea, I thought it was a really great idea, said Julie. My concern was that if he grabbed images, he might run into issues with copyright. And so that's when he thought, well, let's use Debbie as the model, and that way it's a story for her. And it spoke to a general audience instead of being written in the first person. Since this was written in the third person, it's really, really great for anybody, including small children, to understand what's going on. This podcast is hosted on Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free, there's creation tools to allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. Our next article is from CTV by Diego Romero and Nicole Weisberg. Read by special guest Jewelle Blackman.
A real team effort. Alberta First Nations remain COVID-19 free more than 1 month into pandemic. COVID-19 has been spreading across Alberta since the start of March, but the province's 46 First Nation reserves have managed to keep the virus out so far. The Samson Cree Nation credits measures the community has put in place since the pandemic was declared. We got organizing and got busy right away, said Chief Vernon Saddleback. We sent home all non-essential staff and sent home all our elder staff and any staff with pre-existing physical illnesses or disabilities. Signs into the community are warning visitors to stay away, and Maskwachis, which includes Samson Cree Nation, Ermskin Cree Nation, Montana First Nation, and Louis Bull Tribe, has a range of measures in place, including checkpoints. Curfews are also being discussed. We don't want to be the first ones, and I'm sure every other nation doesn't want to be the first one, so we're taking every measure we can to stop this, said Murray Potts, the First Nations Director of Emergency Management. Maskwachis has ordered trailers and turned a school building into an isolation area. Our plan is if there's a positive case, then we take out the elders, handicapped, and disabled, and take them to these locations to separate them from where the individual is sick, Potts said. Saddleback said it has been a real team effort to keep the novel coronavirus at bay.
Our last article is from PIX 11 by Christian Benavides. New Jersey landlord cancels rent for 3 months due to coronavirus. You could call David Plasek the most understanding landlord in Montclair, New Jersey, and in these unprecedented times, you could also call him a hero. In the middle of the coronavirus crisis, the father of 3 who owns a number of properties in Montclair has canceled rent for all his tenants for the next 3 months. Candidly, there's still stress today, Plasek, managing partner of BDP Holdings, said. When am I going to get my job back? Is it going to be there when I get back? Why not eliminate all that stress if you can? Back in March, after seeing the impact of coronavirus, he wrote to his tenants, "We hope to reduce your stress and anxiety by waiving all rent due for the months of April and May." Since the email, he's now extended the reprieve through June, and now rent is due July 1st. Those who responded to me were appreciative of the gesture, he said. So was Governor Phil Murphy, who thanked him publicly during his daily press briefing. Certainly not every landlord is in a position to do the same, the governor said, but David exemplifies the spirit we need to see right now. All in all, Plasek is foregoing about $50,000 in rent. He said he hopes that his story resonates with landlords who have the ability to do something similar, that they hear his story and have an open dialogue with their tenants. That's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us at Uplifting News Sleep Aid Daily. Visit unsadpodcast.com for more episodes and information. That's UNSAD podcast.com. Stay safe and stay inside.